Good evening and welcome to GNN, the Global News Network. I'm your host, Dane Caton, and today we are going to discuss an important topic that affects the U.S. along with the rest of the world. Today's guest is a scientist from Harvard who will inform you on the topic of bacterial evolution and how it affects antibacterial resistance.
Hello, Dane. I'm here in New York City where an outbreak of E. coli has impacted countless citizens. E. coli is the name of a type of bacteria that lives in your intestines and also in the intestines of animals. Although most types of E. coli are harmless, some types can make you sick. Symptoms of a deadly strand of E. coli could include nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, diarrhea that is often bloody, a fever, and also loss of appetite, including mild dehydration. The most common ways people contract an E. coli infection are through consumption of undercooked or raw food and/or water. And in some cases, this might occur after coming in contact with animals, especially cows, in their environment. We're now going to go visit a New York school and see how the bacterial illness has affected the school.
Hello, Dane. Unfortunately, I had contracted a type of E. coli that prevents me from being cured by many antibiotics. As Kent has stated before, I'm currently experiencing many of these symptoms. I am nauseous most of the time and vomit frequently. Fortunately, I am currently feeling better, so I'm able to do this interview. I am often dehydrated, which forces me to be in a hospital a lot. It is truly a painful experience. When the doctors ran some tests, they had concluded that I had contracted a form of E. coli that had the NDM1 strand. This strand of DNA is what allows for bacteria to have many resistances against certain types of antibiotics. The doctors told me that this strand of DNA most likely developed because of the overuse of antibiotics. When someone uses antibiotics, it does not kill every single bacteria. The remaining bacteria must have had some mutation that allowed them to be more resistant to antibiotics. This resistance is passed down to their offspring when they divide. These offspring are as resistant to antibiotics as their parent. The possibility of a mutation occurring is more likely within bacteria because they divide every couple of hours. This process repeats itself over and over, most likely causing the formation of the NDM1 strand. The doctors told me that I am treatable, but that it would require frequent visits to the hospital. Hopefully, I can make a full recovery soon.
Best of luck to you, Brandon. We here at GNN are hoping for your speedy recovery. Next up, we have Nicholas Kornek, an antibacterial resistance expert. Nicholas, what exactly is the threat of antibiotics?
Hi. As Dane informed you, I'm a fellow scientist at Harvard University and have done research on the topic of antibacterial resistance. By far, the most important factor in the bacteria's resistance to our doctor's treatments is the misuse of antibiotics. One may ask, how exactly does this affect antibacterial resistance? To understand this question, one must also understand natural selection. In short, natural selection is the process in which an organism with a mutation that improves their chance of survival, even in the slightest bit, will enable them to survive and reproduce. Their offsprings will contain the mutation, and this will continue until the original mutation is the most common form of the organism. This is what we refer to as evolution. Now, imagine if the mutation allowed an organism to resist the effects of antibiotics. Sadly, this is happening in our world today. In fact, 50% of the patients prescribed with antibiotics don't actually need them, therefore greatly increasing the chances for a bacteria to evolve, as bacteria evolves extremely fast. Dane will now inform you and other doctors what to do to help halt antibacterial resistance and give a recap of what we have just shared with you today.
Now, folks, let's recap on the subject. Due to the misuse of antibiotics and bacteria's inherent fast reproductive qualities, after consuming antibiotics, the remaining bacteria that were resistant to the drug then reproduce. The more resistant bacteria then multiply, causing a horrid snowballing effect that leads to more resistant strains. Doctors should be informed to only prescribe antibiotics when absolutely necessary. That concludes our program for tonight. Thank you for your time. This has been GNN. We'll see you tomorrow.